Thanks for visiting the Australian Yowie Project's YouTube channel Cryptocast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share our content if you like what we do. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications every time we release new videos for you. Now, it's off to the podcast. One of the few times that we've managed to get out in the field, you and I, and you always said to me that an area absent, and this has always stuck with me, absent of small game, shows a high value predation area. In other words, it's been eaten out, for lack of a better term. That's always stuck with me. You know, we're looking for the small games signs. Certainly in that area that we went to that time when we located that very big footprint, which was very near where I photographed the tree sitter, we found, it once was teeming with small game. It was especially like big lizards, goannas, lace monitor lizards, pigs, feral cats even. And, over the last few years, as you saw, there was no signs of anything other than birds. That got me thinking just fairly recently that, noticing the signs of prey animals, noting the behavior of prey animals when a predator is around. And one of the ones to me, I saw something fairly unusual that I wanted to tell you about just a couple of weeks ago. I was with Rod Benfield from Coffs Harbour. He came up here, was on his way up to Sunshine Coast to see another researcher. And I took him to an area here, not far from the city, about 30 k's out from the city, where I believe perhaps one has been living, a Yowie has been living, and I think he's landlocked in by development, even though it's on a 380 hectares. But the one great thing about this area, there's plenty of food. There's a very big population of kangaroos. There's a very big population of wallabies. It's a fishing area. There's lots of scraps. The only thing it doesn't really have and it struggles with is fresh water. But there's a very big population of kangaroos, and there's two very, very big males. And I'm 6'4", and these two, one of them particularly, he's probably a good couple of inches taller than me for an eastern greys. I've never seen an eastern grey male that big. We were walking through the trail, and we spotted the kangaroos lounging around, just sitting up. And normally when you call to a kangaroo, or a kangaroo spots you, it sticks its head up, right? Wouldn't you agree? It sticks its head up, having a look around, ears go to alert.
Yeah.
So what I saw this big male, the female and the young one do, I saw them lay down onto the ground, ducking in behind. You know how you get some trees with the roots, with the trunk, and the big root starts. The root starts just not before the trunk hits the ground, and it feeds out and it creates like a barrier. Then it feeds into a tree. Into the ground.
Yes.
They were hiding behind that, and I don't mean they weren't lying. I mean they were hiding, and I have only seen this behavior in deers, and particularly deer fawns, when they're hiding from predators. I have not seen ever seen a trio, a family, a father, mother, dominant male, female, and the young one hide. Because what we did was we walked to a spot, we saw the kangaroos, and I said to Rod, watch this, and I did what I have done in the field before, which is what I call the female Yowie call, which is a very low, non-threatening, but loud nonetheless, call. It's a very soothing sort of call. And this is based on primatology, and it has worked extremely well in the past for me in the field. But when I did this call and we saw these kangaroos duck down low, now they weren't laying. You could see their legs were springy. They had full control of them, but they were laying down low on purpose, hiding. And I've never seen that happen to kangaroos in the Australian bush. So that tells me from their behavior, even though these two big males could probably defend themselves, I believe, against a Yowie, because these two are like 6'4" or bigger, very powerful, very big claw. And I think they could defend themselves against the Yowie, but they acted like they were a prey animal. And I have never, ever, ever seen that before in my life. And that tells me that there's a big prey animal, an even bigger prey animal, in that area.
Predatory animal. Yes, I've never seen that kind of behaviour. As you said, kangaroos, their normal behaviour, they hear a disturbance, they stand up and look. It might be because they tall grass, and they watch, look around, see what's going on, and then if they're concerned, they all start battling away. They don't try to hide. So that's a very interesting observation. And that sounds very much like that. That's an adaptation to the movement and predation of a large predator.
See, those kangaroos are landlocked as well in the area, right?
Yeah, surrounded by suburbia.
Yeah, well, they're surrounded by a river on one side, the Bruce Highway on another, and there is only a very narrow path to get out, which is underneath a bridge, a very large bridge underneath a major highway, and then you would have to travel along a very heavily vegetated banks, but then are separated by estuaries. For a kangaroo, it would be an impossible trip, but for a bipedal creature, because I tell you where it leads to. It leads straight to Lake Sampsonvale. The river leads straight to Lake Sampsonvale, which we've had numerous amount of sightings there as well. But the area I'm talking about is, of course, Deepwater Bend, which I've got 10 years worth of sighting data, audio, and footprint recovery of creatures in that area. And as well as a couple of first-hand sightings as well. Thanks for listening to the Australian Yowie Project on YouTube. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications for more crypto content for your listening pleasure.